In my tradition, I will keep this short. It is my great privilege to introduce Mayor Tom Lankey to provide the 24th Annual State of Edison Township Address.
Hey, hold it down over there. Thank you, Nathan. I appreciate it. Before I get started, I just wanted to mention Janet Bayo, who's not with us this year. And Janet was always very instrumental in putting this program together. We all that knew her passion and knew that she always did it with class and with a smile. So just want to say, Janet, we miss you. So it's a 24th Annual State of the Township Address. It's my second, and I can't believe that it's been a year since I was last with you. I think last year we talked about, record snow. As the rabbi mentioned, try to deliver a little less snow. Well, delivered a little less this year, except it may have been a little colder. So I can't believe it's been a year. So I guess each year will go quickly. And soon it'll be third year, fourth year, and then we'll see after that. But it's an honor for me to be here. I know they thank me for allowing them to host this, but it's really, my honor to be here and to actually speak. And it's a great crowd, and I appreciate everybody, coming here tonight. I want to thank the chamber. I want to thank all the businesses, and I want to thank all the sponsors, because without you guys, we don't exist. So I do appreciate everything, and thank you for having me. Last year I think we stressed our motto, and we talked about team. And I want to reemphasize that we're still going to talk about team. I mean, that's the only way that we get anything done. And I think if you think of Edison's of past, there may not have been such teamwork moving together, but I don't think you can accomplish anything in any area of life unless you have a successful and passionate team behind you. And I can assure you that we do have that team. And the team, as I mentioned last year, is everyone in this room. And I mentioned last year the same thing. Everybody who's going to watch this, or everybody who's going to read the script online, is part of that team. Everybody within the town is part of the team. And we need all of you, each and every one of you. And I just ask those who have not come forth to help and give us ideas and suggestions to please do so. So I just want to thank everybody for your contributions during the year. I'd like to introduce, I think the introductions will be as long as the speech, but I think that's also a key to trying not to bore people also. Nathan's father taught him some things, and mine taught me some things. So I want to introduce some of the elected officials. We have Assemblywoman Nancy Pinkton. I know that Assemblyman Pat Dignan was here. He had to leave. And I believe Senator Pete Barnes was here. He also had to leave. We had Samantha Steinberg from Governor Christie's office. I don't know if she, Samantha, how are you? I didn't see you over there. Good to see you. I know Mayor John McCormick was here. He also had to leave. He always has something going on. So I'm sure he is somewhere that he's going to say is a lot more exciting than listening to me speak. So I appreciate his friendship. I also appreciate his help in helping us with the DPW fire and all the support he gave us. So I do appreciate that. He's a great friend and a great mayor, so we appreciate that. Representative from Senator Booker's office here, Dan Pereira? No? All right, well, we know what to do with Senator Booker now, right? Yes, make note, Mayor. All right, and then, you talk about team, and, one of the absolute key members that you have to have on your team as mayor. Sometimes you find out the hard way, sometimes you learn it the easy way, but is your counsel. And, it's I guess, news in Edison when you still after 14 months, are still talking to all of your council people on a regular basis, and the conversations are actually cordial. So I want to introduce my closest teammates. I'll start with Council President Bob Deal. Council Vice President Sapna Shah. Councilmember Rob Karabinchak. Councilman Alvaro Gomez. Councilman Mike Lombardi. Councilman Wayne Mascola. And Councilman Dr. Prasad. Again, I do appreciate all your help, support, and you know, you're not always rubber stamps and yes people, and I appreciate that. And sometimes you're a little more challenging than I'd like, but I do appreciate everything that you guys do, and together I think we make a really positive difference. So thank you very much. Board of Ed members, I know I saw Margot Harris. Frank Healing. And we have Dan Machad here, the business administrator. You know, those, all of you may know, may not know, but on March 10th, there's a referendum that's coming up about the James Monroe School and the financing of the construction of a new school. So I just want to remind everybody that on the 10th, that is coming up for a vote. And also encourage everybody to support that referendum. I think it's important for us to make sure that we have a school, state-of-the-art, for the children of Edison, for the James Monroe area. They're currently going to school out of town, and I think it's important that we bring them back. So I strongly do encourage everybody to support that referendum. Charlie, thank you. See, what a great team. Right? Charlie Tamaro was also here. It was great to see him. He looks a little leaner than I remember seeing him, but you know, Charlie did have, you know, some incidents, was in rehab, and he actually looked great today, and I know he ran out to a freeholder meeting, and you know, Charlie's always been a great friend, and it was great to actually see him out and about again, so I appreciate that. So now I want to introduce the people that actually get everything done for me, which is a challenge in itself. The administrative staff of the mayor's office, Deborah Donald, Lori Williams, Dana Delgado Greco, and Mary Light McAvoy. Thank you. Also, the people who like to remind me of what I'm not doing right, which isn't that often, right? Isn't that often? Business Administrator Maureen Ruan. Administrator of, what is it, Policy and Strategic Initiatives, Melissa Carlson. Constituent Relations Administrator, Anthony Rossimano. Director of Law, Bill Northgrave. I remembered you this year. Last year, I think I forgot you. So,
you always leave the lawyer.
you always do, you know. And our labor attorney, Alan Roth. You know, I don't want to introduce everyone, but what I'd like to do is acknowledge our zoning and planning board members that are here tonight. If you can stand and. Thank you. I also want to just mention a couple department heads, some other departments I'll get into a little bit later, but our library director, Judy Mansbach. We've had an exciting year, I guess, with the library this year, and we've been working a lot closer than I think we have in the past, and I think we're moving in the right direction, and we're committed to the libraries in town, making sure that they're buildings that are conducive to people going to and having a good experience. And I know we're working financially, trying to figure out some outdated or inundated things that we do, and I appreciate you hanging in there with us during this process, so thank you. Also, we have Human Resource Manager June Brescher. Purchasing Agent Laura Popick. And our Township Clerk Cheryl Rosamano. So, state of the township, you know, I know it's not generally done, but last year I started out by saying that the state was that we were optimistic and confident. Well, to carry on that tradition, I'm going to have to say what the state that I believe is each year. So this year, I believe the state of the township is moving forward day by day. And that's a positive thing, because we weren't always moving forward. And I think as you remember last year, we talked about some of the challenges in front of us. But we are absolutely, every day, moving one step more forward and one step forward. And trust me, by the end, we will be exactly where we want to be. You know, last year we talked about depleted surpluses. We talked about mounting tax appeals, our infrastructure, which was really, you know, dated and in some cases crumbling and not sufficient to care for the town. I think we also talked about an image that really wasn't all that glamorous. If you talk to other people throughout the state and you told them you were from Edison, you didn't always get the best reaction that you wanted. Sometimes you get a snicker. You know, sometimes people would say, well, you know, why are you still there? I think one of the things that we wanted to do is make sure we addressed those things and those things first. And the first thing we did, and we talked last year about this, was reach out to the community. And I mentioned that everybody here is part of the team. You know, we reached out, looked for ideas, opinions from anybody that would give them. I talked last year about reaching out to committee people. We reached out to committee people, both the Democratic and Republican committee people. We also went out to the Republican leadership. And I know Sylvia Engel is here, the Republican chairperson, and they gave us some great ideas and suggestions and a lot of things we implemented. And we appreciate that input because, again, making Edison the best it can be and management is not a partisan type of thing. You need to hear and listen and do no matter where those suggestions are coming from. And we're committed to do exactly that. As I look over at Sylvia, I see that I neglected to introduce Dr. Paternitti, former mayor, assemblyman, state senator. So we believe municipal government, it's meant to provide quality services. That's our role. It's meant to do so at a affordable tax structure. Affordable sometimes depends upon who's defining what that may be. We believe that the way we were going to start this process and to right-size the town is to zero base and start holding everybody accountable. First step, fiscal responsibility. We looked, saw that our revenue was declining, the tax appeals, and some of our revenue from the state was declining. So unfortunately, we're in the inevitable position to raise taxes, which we did do. We raised some sewer taxes, raised some property taxes. We showed up and discussed why that was necessary. You know, you can go in two directions. One, you can look at what your issues are and try to address them up front, or two, you can try to make believe they're not there. And I know it wasn't popular to do some of those taxes and those tax increases, but we felt that the prudent thing and the fiscally responsible thing to do was to look and build a foundation that we could actually start to address the issues in town. So looking at taxes and looking at where we are, we still are around the median of tax rate per market value in the county. So, I like, a lot of people, when you went out there, they're talking that, we're the highest tax rate in the nation. I think I was hearing people say, and you're the highest tax rate, in the universe. Bottom line is, we're not even at the median within our 21, I think it's 21 towns in the county, is that right? 25? All right, I got one team member shaking his head yes, and the other one saying 25. So we'll go with 23 because that's a good compromise. But I think that was a responsible thing to do. If you look at other towns, you look sometimes at the state, and I think they did not address some of the issues that prevented them from being on sound ground financially. And if you're not on sound ground financially, then you can't do anything. You can't address your shortfalls with your infrastructure. You can't look at your roads or your manpower. So we believe, step one, fiscally responsible. Let's look at the tax base. Let's look at where we are, and let's try to get things done. In that light, I'll talk about some of our accomplishments during 2014. Public Works Director Jeff Rotterman. Road resurfacing. We resurfaced more roadways this past year than I think has been done in the history of Edison, and that's going to continue. So I appreciate all that. Recycling center. We opened up a recycling center in Minnieville. We also have a recycling center down in South Edison at Meadow Road. So we now have a recycling center in the north and the south, which is important. Because again, a lot of times you walk around and, when you're campaigning, you're knocking on doors, and, each section of town believes you only care about the other section of town. If you're in South Edison, it's like, how come you're only doing things in the north? And if you're in North Edison, how come, everything's in the south? You go to Clara Barton and you hear a whole different story from Clara Barton, So, we want to make sure that we have services town-wide, and we set up that center. Single stream recycling, we're rolling that out. We hope to be finishing that soon. So very soon, I am hearing. Excellent. And also, with the help of the county, we actually renovated our skate park, and we're going to actually be dedicating that on March 28th with internationally known skater and Edison native Mike Vallali. So please come out and join us for the dedication of the skate park. We have in engineering and our acting engineer, Peter Kecko. We built, constructed, and renovated countless sidewalks, curbs, our sewer system, which was badly in need. Those people who live in sections of town where the sewer system's just not functioning at the level that it needs to. We added a lot of handicap accessibility, drainage issues, and a lot of pumping station renovation. So very busy in the engineering department, and we look to continue that moving forward into the next year. So again, that's part of the infrastructure that we're talking about. Without that infrastructure, you're not going to attract business. You're not going to retain residents. So we need to be business friendly, and we need to get the infrastructure in place, and that we did do, and I appreciate all the work that they did. Police Department. We have Chief Tom Bryan. Busy year for them, and one of the areas that we did work close with the council is in the hiring ordinances, which we're badly in need of retooling. And I thank you for all the work that you guys did regarding those ordinances. And those ordinances allowed us to actually hire 15 PTC certified police officers at the end of the year, which again was one of the highest hirings in decades. We can't remember when we hired more than 15 at one point in time. And those candidates are very highly qualified, and we're really glad to have them. So that ordinance did help us out in getting that, so I thank you very much for that. We also brought on 10 auxiliary officers. I'll talk a little bit about the auxiliary later on, but that's also a huge help because they fill that gap when we're short manpower in the police department to actually help out. We also set up a neighborhood watch. We know that that was much needed. We had a lot of press with the home invasions. And I'm happy to say that our police department, our detectives, were very instrumental in actually capturing and finding the individuals in Texas that were committing those crimes in Middlesex County. And I'd like to thank them and applaud them for the work that they did. Fire department. Sometimes they're a little busier than we'd hope they'd be. I guess between the school and since this is 2014, we won't talk about the DPW garage. Right, Jeff? But, we hired 4 firefighters there. That was just to replace people who were retiring. But we're going to constantly look at the manpower in the fire department to see if there are areas where we can improve that. But I think one of the other areas that we have done an analysis of, and we unfortunately haven't gotten to address it yet, but we will, is, equipment and really the firehouses. They are in not the greatest shape, I guess is the positive way to say that. And we need to look at that and address that because, one, safety, but two, just you talk about image. Again, when walls are crumbling and sidewalks are cracking and whatnot, roof is leaking, it's not kind of the image that you'd like to set for people coming through. So we performed the analysis. I've done a tour. I even got Maureen to go through the firehouses, and we're committed to get something done with those. So I appreciate the work the fire department has done. I just want to stress that public safety as a whole is paramount with my administration, and I believe with all the teammates that exist here. I can speak for the council, I'm going to speak for everybody else, but it's paramount. Because again, if you're not safe and you don't feel safe, how can you be happy? How can your quality of life be what we want it to be? So public safety, we're committed to, and we'll work together with you guys to make sure that it's where it needs to be. So thank you. Health Department, Jay Elliott. Is Jay here? Oh. Yeah. Especially when you're sitting, right? Thanks. Internet cafe, one of the big things in the senior center. I see Judy shaking her head. We did put in an internet cafe in the senior center on Woodbridge Avenue. Still trying to get my mother to go there to get her involved with the computers. But very, very great. We can see seniors actually utilizing the computers, utilizing the internet, whether it be to check on their investments, which I know a few of them were doing when I was there that day, or communicating with their grandchildren. But very, very important, and it was great to see that put in place. So that was great. The other thing we did was we opened up the snack shack at Edison Town Hall, and those who have been there know what a gem it is. Those who haven't, I encourage you. It's open to the public to come in and dine, I would say, at the snack shack. And it's unique because I think it was the first of its kind partnership between the Township and the New Jersey Institute for Disabilities. And it's a win-win because it provides cafe service to the town and the people in Town Hall, and it provides jobs for the members of the Institute for Disabilities. And it was done at no cost, thanks to the generous donations of businesses in town. And we appreciate their support. We appreciate the partnership with the Institute. And it's a great thing. So I encourage everybody, please, come on out, take a look. The soup is good. I've had the soup there, so I strongly encourage, come on out and try the Snack Shack. In code with John Soltez. John and his people have done a phenomenal job. We were so backlogged from 2010 through 2013, and I believe we've caught up over 90% of those permits and whatnot. And I got to tell you, when I first got on the council, I think one of the things, and everybody else on the council would know, is you were hearing from people that it was like, I can't get people out to do my inspections, I can't get permits done. It's just horrible business-wise. And, it's great to have John come in and have him and his people actually clean up most of those permits and to actually stay current on the individual permits. And I think everybody who does have conversations with the business people, they're much happier at this point in time, and we appreciate the work that Code has done. So thank you very much. Recreation with Denise Hollowell. So, countless programs that they run, countless events. I can't name them because there's just way too many. Very busy, and every year there seems to be more and more, and we appreciate that. This year, we did kind of reinvigorate, I guess is the best word, the Memorial Day Parade. And Dana, who was also heading that up, and it was probably the best parade we've had in some time. We had over 50 participants. It was probably the most well-attended parade that we've had in some time, and we're looking forward to making it even better next year. So we appreciate that. 4th of July event was actually brought back. I don't know how many years it hadn't happened, but it was a very popular event. I had always looked forward to going to Lake Papiani and watching the fireworks in Edison, and it's kind of disturbing to have to go to a different town to view your fireworks. So, it was great, and again, through the donations of corporations and businesses through town, which I thank anybody who's here that donated to that. But you made it possible for us to have a great fireworks festival, and I think it was extremely well attended, more well attended than the ones I remember, and we're looking forward to do a bigger and better one next year. So thank you for that. And the Fall Festival moved back to Amboy Avenue, speaking of those people from Clara Barton. Unfortunately, the weather did not exactly cooperate with us, but I got to tell you, the attendance, even with the weather, was spectacular, and we're looking forward to better weather. Maybe I'll talk to Rabbi. Maybe he can arrange for better weather, Father. Maybe together we can do it. So thank you very much. And then lastly, economic development, which again is key. We talk about stability with our fiscal resources. Without economic development, we're never going to be able to move forward and move the town to where we need to have it in place. First step in that was we did bring on a professional planner, contracted with a professional planner during 2014. And really the thought process is, we have an opportunity. Things were stagnant for some time. We have an opportunity. Let's not miss that opportunity. Let's do it right, do it in a holistic approach, and make sure that we look at everything, turn every stone over, and look at every area of town and try to figure out exactly how we can best address and open up for businesses. So we did bring that planner on in 14, and I'll go into a little more detail about what we're going to be looking at in 2015. So that's some of our accomplishments for 2014. Moving forward into 15, again, I'm going to stress, and I know you probably get bored of me stressing it. And those who have left, I'm sure, left because of that. But we got to look at a team concept. We have to look at inclusiveness, okay? Because again, we're not going to get what we need to without including everybody. There was an ad that was placed through the media looking for committee members, looking for people to come on and join some of the groups that we have. Because the one thing that you need is constantly refreshing people that are on your boards, on your committees, because you get some fresh ideas. So we have an ad that went out. It's not just lip service. We really want people to come in, call us, let us know. We'll absolutely find a place for you. We need your input. And that's everybody here, everybody watching on TV, everybody who's going to read this. Please, we need everybody's ideas. No question, not just lip service. I know a lot of times you hear that, but trust me, we want to hear okay? Computerization, there's been a lot said about it. I know there was a lot of debate about it, but increasing our computerization to try to improve our internal controls, okay, and try to improve our accountability. So that's going to be kicking in 2015. We're just about done with our ADP process. Should I give a date? No date. But soon. It'll be very soon. It'll be very soon. We're going to have the Barclays back at Plainfield Country Club the week of August 25th, I believe. I'm looking for the head shake to make sure we're there. But hey, phenomenal event. Those who were able to attend last time know what a great event it was. Weather, I guess they didn't have the best weather either. Had a little bit of a hurricane, I guess, come through. But much like we're going to elicit support for the weather for our festival, we'll also do so for the Barclays. So you're in good hands now. You're in good hands. So please come out and support the Barclays, and businesses, please come out and support. We'll be out talking over the next few months, trying to elicit interest and support in that tournament. It's a great tournament. I strongly advise, even if you don't play golf, it's something to see. I encourage you to come out. Police hirings. We intend on doing another round of police hirings really in the next month. Can I say that? I can. Okay, good. So you always have to check, make sure. And we're going to address the non-PTC certified area in this. And that's important. And again, the ordinances that were passed by the council are allowing us to do this. And the ordinance gives extra points to people who are Edison residents and people who served on the auxiliary. And we think that's important because when people have dedicated themselves and volunteered in the auxiliary, or people are from your town, I think their commitment is better. And the one thing, I get made fun of maybe, or joked or whatever, but they call me Hope in the office. That's on the good days. I won't tell you what they call me on the other days. But I think you have to provide hope. And again, the auxiliary is important to us in every day, but especially when we're down manpower. And to try to encourage that volunteerism, try to encourage people to join the auxiliary, gives them hope. If they can become a police officer, then I think you increase that. So I again applaud the council for the ordinance that they brought forward. I think it was great, and I think we're going to find, and I think we do realize we do have some great candidates that are coming off of that list also. So we appreciate that, and we look forward to that. In health, and I look in front, we're going to be opening up our first dog park over on Whitman Avenue. And it's going to be a kind of a partnership with Metuchen and the county. I think originally there were some other locations that were tossed around, but I really strongly believe that the property over on Whitman Avenue is going to be conducive to the best dog park that exists in our area, and we look forward to opening up that dog park. All those who have dogs will appreciate that, I'm sure. I actually happen to have a dog now, so. Property maintenance. Probably one of the biggest complaints I've gotten since being in office is people that live, and unfortunately with the economy we find too many of it, that have absentee owners. Banks have taken over, foreclosed on houses, and the way they maintain their property is not exactly where and how you would want to live next to. So I can assure you that we're going to re-emphasize our property ordinance to make sure that we track down who the owners are and that we enforce when they're not maintaining their property, because quality of life cannot be affected any more negatively than living next to somebody who the grass is growing and there's animals in the yard, and just basically it's an eyesore. So we have ordinance in place. We're gonna re-emphasize, and I keep looking at Melissa because, so she's trying to give me a hint. What did I forget? Former, okay, yes. Yes. Thank you. Animal shelter. Animal shelter has taken on some additional towns. I think it's an area that we need to look at to actually deal with that expansion and actually look at some renovations and looking at some changes and restructuring and whatnot. So our animal shelter is going to be very, very high on our list of priorities, and Jay will assure you that that's going to be done. So now, I did forget one other dignitary, and he's smiling, so he knows. He knows that I'm going to introduce him. Former Mayor June Choi is here. Jim, thank you for being here. Environmental. One of the other things that struck me coming in, and you look at priorities and you think you're coming in and having certain set of priorities, and then when you see other things, you realize that you need to address some other things. The environment and some of the issues we have, our landfill closure is something that's been discussed in the process for forever, as far as I can remember. Something that's starting to move forward, and we look forward to, hopefully, and I know you wouldn't let me give a date on this, hopefully reach that closure and get that finally in the rearview mirror. Also, some environmental center and some work in the Dismal Swamp. We need to move forward with that. And there are a number of contaminated sites in Edison, and some of them, all of them are disturbing, but some of them are extremely disturbing. And it's time that we move forward, and we're going to put a huge emphasis on moving forward and doing what we can to either acquire those properties or to at least get those properties cleaned up so that we can make them where they need to be and put them back into service. So the environment's going to be something huge. Last thing, I mentioned economic development. I mentioned the planner, looking at, how we can look in a holistic way, how we can look at business zones, how we can look at redevelopment zones, and really how we can start to move this town forward. I think that it's been a while, and I joke that we have the sign in the closet that we need to dust off and put out there that Edison's open for business. We're going to do that, but I just will speak, and so you don't think that we're going to all of a sudden have all this development going on. We need to be smart about it, and that's why we have the planner in place. We know the schools are overcrowded. We know that's not an area where we're going to be able to easily develop. So we know what the limitations are. We know what we need to do. We're going to listen to the planner, but we do need to get some economic development going, and that's going to be a top priority in 2015. The other bit of good news is Harts Mountain. I mean, everywhere I go, I think every council meeting, I won't mention who it is, but they come up and what's going on with Harts Mountain. Good news, been talking to them throughout the year, and talked to them the other day, and really, I would say within the next 2 months, you'll see them start to move forward, go through the processes they need to, and actually start to see activity on that site. So that's great news. It's sorely needed. So we look forward to that. And there are some things that are planned for there that are very exciting. I don't think I'm at liberty to say yet, but trust me. Keep tuned in. So, we've accomplished a lot. We have a lot of goals coming through in 2015. But we're going to do it systematically. We're going to do it step by step. I talk about building the foundation. I think we're building the fiscal foundation. We're trying to deal with the infrastructure, because you have to get those things in place before you can take the next step. I look at it, you address it, you build it, and then you have to put in place kind of a preventative maintenance, I guess, for lack of a better word on it. Whether it be your firehouses, whether it be your DPW equipment, or your police vehicles, or anything else. You need to make sure you're staying on top of it. Road resurfacing, typical example. You can't just let everything go. You have to have a process in place to over whatever the amount of years are. If it's 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 12 years, whatever it is, put that in place. So we're building that foundation. We're putting that in place. And this is so that the Edison in the future is what we want it to be. And that goes to image. When you put those things in place, the town is somewhere that somebody wants to live and a business wants to be. We understand, and I'll remind Maureen of this, we need to do so at a reasonable tax rate, and we have that in mind, and I'm sure the council will hold us accountable to that also, looking at my partners in the front row over here. So we will continue. We're going to go day by day. We're going to press forward. And again, it's day by day. If you try to do things too quickly, it doesn't always happen. We have a long-range plan. We're putting the steps in place. We're putting the foundation in place and getting that maintenance program in place. And that's the only way you have a lasting, workable situation. So again, we are doing that. So I'm going to repeat. The state of the township is moving forward day by day. And let's let nobody question that we're going to make Edison the best that it can be, and that we are absolutely primed right now to be the best place to live and work within this state. I go to Mayor McCormick's address, and he's talking about the best town all around, and I know Crayville talked about, the greatest county in the land and whatnot. Well, I'm not, going to be so bold. We're going to be the best place to live and work in the state, period. Nobody will be better. So we need to do that, and I look at Melissa as I'm saying this, because we truly will make Edison our land of hopes and dreams. So thank you. Be safe. Take care.